I don't have, we have one other major topic I guess we were gonna discuss, and then mention what we have as a possible future plan. That is not up there so you can read it, but you should have noticed that out front there was a few handouts. One of those was the 2022 Nebraska Beef Report. First page on that is a nice memorial to Terry and that Rick led, and we discussed and put in the Nebraska Beef Report, which we think is appropriate. So all that is there is a bit of information about that memorial that you can then read if you want to read closer. Should we do the other video now and then start into this?
It's up to you.
Kelton, you're saying it's on the desktop?
Yep.
Right here?
Yep.
Can you hear it?
When we started this program, I think it was unique. And we got a group together and talked about it, including a group of cattle feeders that I met with that were mentors for me. Nobody signed us up to do this. It's not in our job descriptions.
Terry Klopfenstein just did a tremendous job of evaluating and listening to feedlots about how you would set this program up, what they need to learn, when you want to have them in the feedlot. Okay, so we turn them out into the feedyards about July 4th, and then when the fall run of calves comes, they're ready to really be part of the crew and help out, right? So the design of the program has worked really, really well, and the criteria that have been developed and the reputation that it has, all that stuff just builds on itself, where we're really fortunate to get high quality students and put them in a good position to go have an impact on the industry.
The University of Nebraska program is strictly one of a kind. We have had students from a lot of states. You don't have to be from Nebraska. You don't have to be a student at the University of Nebraska in order to go through this program. If you're a student in animal science or ag business in any university in the country, you are welcome to apply to this program, and we'd love to have you.
Number one reason for having this program is because of the large need for increased numbers and ability of our managers across the state and across the country for feed yards. And this is a great way for them to start that career choice for them. It's like having a 4-month interview. And so there's always opportunities for them when they're done with the program.
We need more students. And especially we need the students that want to be in feedlot management. Again, the opportunities are tremendous. Almost every year, somebody has contacted us and said, we really want an intern, and we take them on a new feedlot.
We're the beef state, and I think that's where we need the, if we want to grow, I think we need to be interested in helping with it.
We're really indebted to Norm and Sharon Timmerman for their gift in honor of his parents, Leo and Irene Timmerman. I believe that gift, it helps us offset some of the costs to the students to do the internship program. Because imagine they've been in college or they've been in school, and then ask them to do another 5 or 6 months at a time, and then incur some costs here at the University of Nebraska to do that. We think it's excellent and a big help to offset some of those costs for the students that are doing the program. So essentially the costs are zero for students to do the feedlot management internship program. In addition, Norm's gift has allowed us to do more active recruiting. We actually have a recruiter to take care of attracting more young people. I think Norm's vision and that of maybe in the feed yard industry, but obviously his gift is really a way to show that we need to attract more young people, get them better prepared to go into middle management and management options for them, as well as other feed yards across the region. So really it's his philanthropic gift that allows us to do more recruiting.
It was brought up to us, and it's something that intrigued myself and my wife to we got these young people coming up, and I think they need more than just going out to Feedyard and, going to work. I mean, again, there's a lot more going on in this beef industry or Feedyard industry than there was when I got into it. If it's gonna go, we gotta have a younger generation.
I would define the success of the program in a few ways. One, it's been a long-standing program that's gained a lot of support. And I believe that the reason that it's gained a lot of support is because it's put a lot of good people into the industry, right? So the program's old enough now that some of those guys that went through early on, they own the feedlot, or they're managing the feedlot, or they're high up. And so they want to see it continue to be successful.
We want to celebrate the history and the legacy of the program, but then also, what are we gonna do now? Thoughts or reactions? Nice job, Mike. Obviously more creative than Rick or I could ever have dreamed to be, so that's good. And I know you spent a lot of time, Mike. I know Sheldon and Maggie, thanks for your support, but I know Mike spent a lot of time working on those for us, so I certainly appreciate that. And hopefully we did justice, Norm, and to you and to Terry, and that was our intent, and hopefully we get that intent correct and have a good outcome. So Kelton has not posted that video, the legacy video, anywhere yet. Our intent now is to spread that across social media and increase our recruitment activity, hopefully. And what could you do? You could also enhance that sharing and help us with spreading that information. Because students, young people especially, are gonna find those things when they're searching. I've had students say that we were searching and just typed in feedlot management and we came up. How many are searching but don't type in feedlot management? You see the question, so I guess the rest of the evening, I think, is normally when Terry and I recall the last couple of evenings we've done, we had some fun, which hopefully we've had with the social. Nice meal, some discussion about where the program is at, and then we always ended with some discussion about where's the program heading. And usually, does everybody know Terry really liked doing research? Is everybody aware of that? So he always wanted to talk about research stuff at the end of any feedlot internship reunion. So for our thoughts, our plan was to share some new and exciting plans. They're truly only plans right now, but it ties in well, I think, with a question that I've received a lot since April of this year. As many of you know, Terry was a mentor to me. I was probably closer to him than anybody and spent almost every working day for 20 years with him. And so he was a tremendous support system for me. He taught me most anything I know, so I'm indebted to him forever. When he passed, a lot of people asked me, including graduate student alumni and a few intern program alumni, what is your plans? What are you thinking about doing? And we've thought a lot about that, and you know, Terry helped train a lot of people and has had a huge impact. But I was mostly, I guess, surprised by the question of what can we do to help to memorialize his legacy. So that's what we were trying to think of, and that's really then what we're proposing here. Independently of obviously the timing and those issues, we've been talking about building a feedlot innovation center. So I'm going to go through that here in a minute and describe to you what that feedlot innovation center has been. That's been a 3 or 4 year discussion. Terry had a lot of input into the discussions around the feedlot innovation center. But over the last, since having questions about what is your plans to memorialize Terry, is there things we can do to help support the program, meeting with the foundation and Marcia and Kristen and Josh Egley, and how does that tie into this feedlot innovation center? Is there some way we could memorialize Terry as part of that? we thought, and if you don't like the idea, it's Rick's idea, no, I'm kidding. He and I both agree on this, that there's one place that Terry thought was probably the most fun place to do research. Does anybody know where that would be? The individual barn. Thanks, Casey. Glad it wasn't just me that thought that. We had that individual barn. You saw some pictures with those green gates on it. Everybody remember if you were up at Mead working, it has the Kalen gates with the keys. He loved doing research there, didn't he? They just loved it. And it was a 120 Kalen gate system, and it's about as old as the facility, which means about 1960s, right? But he loved doing research there. He could handle 120 head, and I think he always wanted to do 120 different diets in that barn. That's the way he was. So, as part of the feeding, in the Feedlot Innovation Center, one of the facilities is going to be built to individually feed 240 head. It's going to be updated some from the old Kalen gate system, right? It's going to have a new pneumatic individual feeding system, some individual weighing, a lot of precision technology. It'll be state of the art. But we think that a naming opportunity is in place, but it requires raising $400,000. So that's essentially the cost, $400,000 to $500,000 in cost to the facility. So if we want to drive in there and see Klopfenstein Feeding Technology Center, that's the kind of gifts that we're going to have to get. And we have some plans in place, but tonight's the first time anybody's heard that idea or that plan, so I'm just bringing it up now. I said to Marcia and Josh, I said, it should be nice to have the fund in place, but if we do, I want to be the first to donate. So last night I donated, not a lot, but it was as much as I can. So the fund's active and has a donation, at least one. I don't know if it has more yet. But it's a big ask, but that way when people ask me or they ask you, what can we do to memorialize Terry, you've got something now that you can refer to. So I appreciate Marcia and Kristen brought some handouts and the fund numbers on there. So it's pretty simple. If you feel inclined, that's up to you. It's a personal decision, right? But if you have that inclination, that would be a great way to help support something that we think we need, at the same time would memorialize Terry's legacy in a way that we think would be one of his favorite ways. Now, I was joking with Heinley earlier, what was Terry's, well, anybody, what's Terry's, what we say, what Terry say his middle name was? Cheap, right? So he may think $400,000 or $500,000 is way too much to have for a feeding barn, but that's the way it is. So anyway, Rick has discussed this plan and these thoughts with Terry's family, and they're supportive. So hopefully we think it's a good idea, but hopefully you do too. Has anybody got any questions or comments about that?